So welcome to day 2 with, I don't really want to homeschool, but this is something that looks like I need to do. So you can be either a brand new homeschooler or a person that's homeschooled before and realize, I think I'm gonna have to do it again this year. And it doesn't matter what time of the year. Some of us come at the very beginning of the year, and then others in the middle of the year figure out this is something that we have to do. So wherever you're at, it doesn't matter. You are welcome in. And I just want to tell you who I am at the moment. I am Katrina Garcia. I am a homeschooler that is on the 18th year at this point. So I don't know when you'll be seeing this, but I am what we call a veteran homeschooler, but I am not a veteran like from the military. It's just me and I have a little bit of experience, right? So I want to welcome you on our day 2 if you're just tuning in. If not, you come the day before, good on you. And I hope that you're able to do some of the homework because each day is going to build on each other. But if you haven't, that's okay. That's okay. So let me go into a little bit about me and why am I here? What do I possibly have to offer our group here? And why? Why do I have something to say about this, right? So here again is our 3-day homeschool intensive. The first day we went over what to expect for the 3 days are coming up, and then how to do this confidently. How do we get this going so that you know where you're at and where your family's at? And then today we're going to go into planning for the year. The next one is having harmony in your home and where to get started with that. How do we make things kind of be conducive to your unique family? Keep that in mind. Your family is unique. You don't need to look like someone else. Your family does not need to look like another family, okay? So be encouraged. If there's some things that you may love that you see, but you just feel like you can't pull it off, that is comparing, and that will kill all your desires, aspirations for what you're trying to go to. So let some of those expectations come off, okay? Let yourself be human and let yourself be the mom or the parent that you're called to be for those children. Okay, so we're going to get a little bit into it, and I'm going to screen share really quick on my coaching. So I do coaching and I am a consultant. And here is my husband and I. Who am I? How can I talk about this? Where did Katrina come from, right? Where did she come from? So I have a certificate in biblical counseling from the American Association of Christian Counseling. I'm a behavioral specialist, worked with a lot of young people from all different age ranges. I'm a certified life coach for women in next level women coaching, and I am a lifer. We already talked a little bit about that. So when I first wrote this and put this together, it was 17 years, and now we've moved on. But sometimes you just need to know what direction to go into. So you might need the coach in parenting, but what if you just need a consultant where you just say, just tell me exactly what to do? Sometimes situations, that's where you just need to be told exactly what to do. And that is where this comes into place. I do have a Facebook group called Faith Homeschool Collaboration, where you would have a community there, but then also there's other things that you get with that in joining the program. Now, to be on the Facebook group, that's completely free. It doesn't cost anything for that. I want to support parents. I know what it's like to try to look for resources. I know what it's like to really trying to figure things out. You just need a supportive group, and it may not be the people that are around you that are supportive or understand what you're going through as a homeschool family. So in the consulting program, though, that is where you will get assessments, identify family needs and academic needs. That's what I do. You may not know what your family needs, so I'll help you assess that and identify that, give you advice on curriculum if you're just not sure which direction to go in with that. There is a lot of them. I'm not going to say I know every single one of them because there's new ones always coming out. But if we know where your child's at, if we understand their learning style, your learning style, then we can make that happen. We can figure out what curriculum best fits them. I'll help you navigate school systems. Why do I say that? Well, some people that are homeschooling are completely out of the school system. Some people want to know how to get out of it, and others still want to participate, but they're doing distance learning. So I can help you with that as well. And then locate resources. That's what I will help you do. That's what I became the professional in with my own family, is how to find resources that will help in that situation. Okay, so there is hope, there is a way, and looking at which one you may need could be helping with the parenting aspect. And I'm not sure how to deal with my kid in this. I'm not sure what's the best way to guide them with them, but it also might be just be consulting, and you're just like, okay, where do I go with this? What do I do with that? So I am here for any of those. Okay. All right. So let's get into our teaching today. And how do we do this homeschool thing? And I'm going to flip back over. Give me 1 second here. Back into the presentation mode. Here we are. Okay. So planning for the year. This can sound very daunting. A whole year. You're like, what do you think? I'm a teacher or something? Well, yeah, you're kind of like going into that right now. So planning agendas and schedules. Let me encourage you first that you're probably already doing schedules in some form or another. You're already putting together some type of agendas for your family, for your kids, and whether you feel like you're strong in this area or not, you are doing it. So let me encourage you in that. And in this question, I put, what's your background? So think about, what is your background? It's going to be many of us coming from different types of backgrounds. Some of us come from a background of learning, we know how to put together outlines. We know how to put together schedules, calendars, all that. And some of us, that is not the issue. It is not the situation at all. We don't have that type of background. That's okay. That's okay. Remember, this is unique to you and your family. I don't want you to change your personality based on, what your background is, but I do want you to stick to you. Okay. So we are going to do a hands-on project, because I firmly believe that you need to leave with something every time you come to one of these workshops, classes, presentations with me, to leave with something. That's what I consider fair. So what you're going to need for this is a paper and a pencil, a real live paper. Why do I say that? Because a lot of us use technology, right? I'm one of those who use apps for everything, but this project here, you need to use a paper. So I'm going to give you an example. Like right here, I have graph paper. So if you feel like you are really artistic, or this helps you to line things in the right way, use graph paper. If you are the type that needs the line paper and that helps you get organized, do that. If you're the type like, I feel like that's all restrictive, I have to keep in the lines and due dates and guidelines, get a blank piece of paper. Go with your personality, okay? After you get your paper, your pencil, your coloring pencil, your marker, whatever it is that's around, like just like a crayon, get it? What we're going to do is we're going to fold this hot dog style. So hot dog style is you're turning it the long way like this, and we're going to fold it into 3. I should go the other way so you can see that, right? You're going to fold it like that, okay? And I just try to look at, okay, what would be even parts? If it's not perfect, don't worry about it. You're not being graded, and you're not going to be tested. No one else is really going to see this unless you want to share it with your partner, your husband, or anybody that's going to be on your team for homeschool. But this is really for you on how to get organized with your homeschooling. And I don't mean like you're an organizational person. It just means like, I want to get a grip on this, right? Okay. Yeah, it's not even perfect at the end for me. No big deal. All right. What that's going to do is allow me to make 3 different categories. I'll tell you what those categories are in a second. I'll lay my paper down so I can write on there. Okay. Hopefully that gave you enough time to run off and get what you need. But it's a video, you could pause it too, right? Okay. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do in the first column is I'm going to write all the children that I have to homeschool. Okay, so that could be my children. It could be the cousin that's coming over. It could be the child down the street where the parent is working and needs somebody to watch their kid. Okay, it could also be kids that maybe you're having to interact online, right? Okay, so I'm going to just write down a few children. What I'm going to do on this one is I'm going to go ahead and just write initials. It's up to you. You can write nicknames, you could write initials, whatever. And I want you to give space. So first category is names. Okay, name. Second category on there is going to be, where am I? Oh, it's going to be weaknesses. And then the last one's going to be strengths. Okay. Remember, we're just starting this. You're going to finish this on your own. I'm going to give you plenty of instruction on how to do it. So I put initials of one of my children. I'm going to put initial for another one of my children, and I'm going to give some space in between. We're going to do that. Okay. Space in between here so that I can write notes here and put in information about that. Okay, so now we got the first child. We're going to go to the weakness, and I'm going to think about what are some things in school that's tough for him. What's tough for him academically, socially, anything that has to do with school. Okay, so let's see. He's been doing okay in math, but sometimes it becomes a challenge. Would that be his greatest weakness? I want to start with the top one. Okay, I'm going to say his greatest weakness is history. History/social studies. Okay, and then now for strengths, I'm going to think, what is his top strengths? Now, why do I say this? You'll work on this later, because I'm not giving enough time to write down all the weaknesses, all the strengths, which is going to be good. It's going to be very beneficial to identify this. Now, I would take what has happened in the past year, okay, because it's going to help you with your planning for this year, okay, or this semester. You don't even have to do a whole year at a time, because you might decide to change how you're doing things. It's totally up to you as homeschooling, home learning, right? Okay, strength. He has strengths musically. Write that for him. Now I'm going to go to the next child. Weaknesses. His would be language arts. So learning the English language. Now, are they bilingual? No, but getting the concepts has been difficult for him. Okay, and my children have dyslexia, so language arts is difficult. Okay, strength. Strength is that he is very athletic. Okay. See that there? So I got a little bit of information. I can go ahead and add more. It's okay if this takes you a while. This is going to help you with your planning, majorly help you with your planning, okay? Why do we have these categories? Well, strengths are something that they can pretty much do on their own. Do you want to like walk out of the room for 2 or 3 hours? Maybe not necessarily. but you know this is something that they can kind of do on their own and can also assist with other children that may be in the home, okay? Or with you, could assist with you because they can come up with ideas and innovative ways to implement this in the home or in the school because that's their strength. Weaknesses, what you need to be able to do with the weaknesses is give them one-on-one attention with their weaknesses. If you have many children, multiple children, if I haven't mentioned already, I have 5 children, so I would take where the weakness is at, give them one-on-one, or pair them with another child that has a strength in that area, because it's easier for them to talk about it. It's easy for them to relate to the other child when it comes to that. But in my planning my day, I need to make sure I have one-on-one time during this time, okay? Now, when we talk about scheduling of the day, there's a couple of different ways to do it, and I'll get more detailed into that in a minute. But what I'm saying is, you might feel like I have 5 children. How in the world can I just give attention to one child? But it's doable. It's totally doable. Or, you know, okay, this one needs help with that. This one needs help with this, and then this one needs help with that. There's only one of me. How do I help with all that? But it's very important that you get this down first, okay? And it doesn't matter if it's a long list or short list. There's always going to be at least one thing, right? Okay, good. This is their project to work on a home. Now, let's go a little bit into the scheduling. So what I'm going to do is just draw a line at the bottom of this paper here. And I want to tell you about a few different ways that you can schedule your home. But let me make one more point before I get into that. I'll go back into my screen share real quick. What I want you to make sure you're doing is thinking about your homeschooling style or approach, okay? We talked a little bit about this for the first day, but there's different approaches and different styles and ways to do your homeschool, the way it looks. And when I say that, it's because people choose different ways to do things, and none of them's the right or wrong way. It just fits for them. Children learn a certain way, parents teach a certain way. So whether you're doing eclectic or relaxed looks more like the public school setting, except that it's not as rigid. So you might choose, we're going to do these 6 subjects. This is how we're going to do it. Here you have a desk. You know, we're going to use the same type of curriculum the local school uses. We're just not going to be as pressed on time or as pressed when we get started, those types of things. Classical type of education is really going back to the medieval times. Doesn't mean you dress like the medieval times, but the way that education was taught, where you're really learning the language, what do words and their roots stem from, what else is included in that? Reasoning, taking time out to learn how to learn, right? And this one here, people spend a little bit more time on subjects during the day, okay? That's one way of doing it. But then you also have Montessori. Montessori looks different. Montessori is, you have different sections in your house or in your school, and you allow the child to just kind of explore and go to those sections and discover on their own. And then unschooling is when you go, you know what, we're going to take all the traditional way and set that to the side and allow you to just explore, feel, and when you have an interest, we're going to go into that interest, and we're going to go into the interest hard until you have no interest in that anymore, and then we'll go into something different. But it's really led by the child on what they want to learn and what they're interested in. There's many, many other ones. I'm just listing those 4 here, but many other ones. I do have a video on my Facebook group that goes into all of them extensively and what the day looks like. But take this into consideration when you start planning. Take this into consideration when you have to look at, how is my child going to get the information that they need when you go into planning. Okay. All right. So let's stop screen share. Okay. So in that whole aspect of what we were discussing, there are different ways to plan the day. And I'm going to show you a few examples of that physically and online. Okay. But I just want to tell you about a couple of them. One is called block scheduling. Block scheduling is not going hour by hour. We see a lot of schedules like that. That can put a lot of pressure on you, especially if you have little ones. Okay. Block scheduling is when you take like 3-hour time slots, from 2 hours to 3-hour time slots, to say, you know what, we're going to work on these subjects. We're going to work on reading. We're going to work on science, and we're going to work on some math. You hear how I kind of just said what I felt like we were going to work on? Because you have that freedom. So do that. Take that freedom and say, okay, these are the things that we really want to focus on. And I would say that the harder subjects or the weaknesses of where your child is, you want to do those first because it requires the most brain activity for them. Take that, work on that first, because as the day goes on, the mind and the body begin to get tired. And so put that into consideration. That is for you and for your children. Do the hardest things first where they've got the energy and the brain power for it. Okay. So there's block scheduling. Now we mentioned that there is the smaller amounts of time. So how do you figure that out depending on what age your child is? Okay, remember in the early years, there is not much time that you can have them concentrating on something. So if you're doing like preschool or even a kindergartner, your timing is going to look more like 15, 20 minutes for each activity or project you're doing. So don't think it bad that, you know, they can't spend an hour on something or they're wiggling and moving around, things like that. Things have to keep changing at an early age for them. Okay. If you have multiple kids, keep in mind the younger children are going to need to keep switching up for what they're doing. And when it comes to that, just have things ready and available for them that they can get into. Because I know as a mom of little babies, while you're trying to teach the others, they will get into everything in the house while you're trying to teach your kid. And that's highly stressful. Because you may not be worried about stopping them at the moment, but when you finally turn around and see what was done to all the other rooms, how can I do this, you know? So normal, you just want to have some stuff set aside for them. And you don't want to have the same stuff always every single day for them. Not a different subject, a different issue, different day. But for the older ones, as they're getting into higher and higher grades, so first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, and up, they are able to have longer periods of time for concentration. Well, that leads us to the question, well, then how many hours should I be homeschooling, right? How many hours should we be in schooling time? That typically looks like about 3 or 4 hours max of just straight, concentrated schooling and learning. That might sound like, really? That's it? I mean, they're in school from like 6 to 8 hours, right? Well, you can split that up anytime you want. So you can go, we're going to start at 8 or 9 in the morning and go straight through until 1 o'clock. You can do that. Or you can say, okay, we're going to concentrate on really focusing down on some subjects for 2 hours, and then they're going to have PE. And they'll break up the time. And then you're going to go back and focus in. And then after that, you're going to have something that has to do with the arts, entertainment some way, that they're learning and they're participating and they're involved. And then you can bring back something else they need to concentrate on again. Think about the kids go to school, public school, private school, and they're gone. They have their break time when they get home, and then they have to do homework. So they're going in again, right? So you can break this up at home, whatever that looks like for 3 or 4 hours, okay? And I am also talking about high school, like 4 hours should be a good enough amount of time where they're getting the concept of what it is they need to learn, and then they're done. Like, that's it, they're done. You have to think about, for people to get information, they can take in information for about 20 minutes, like solidly for 20 minutes. And then the mind starts to kind of tap out a little bit. So to think that you have to be on something for 6 to 8 hours is putting a lot of pressure on you. If you are not a teacher in a public school or private school, keep in mind that they're not working straight for 6 to 8 hours. They're not. They're just not. There are activities put in there just to fill time. There's a lot of activities put in just to fill time when they're there, depending on where they're at. They have recess, recess, they have lunch, they have period of times where there's transition. And so all that's in there. Okay. All that's in there. Know that you have the freedom to not do anything in the morning. You can do school in the afternoon only. You can change up where in the week you're doing it. So you can have class from Wednesday to Sunday. You can have Monday to Friday. You can have Monday to Thursday. Friday's a takeoff day or a completely switch up day of what type of schooling you do. You know, I, for a while there, took Fridays to just go out somewhere and be with each other and have family time. And in that process, we're still talking, still teaching. When you get into the teaching mode, it doesn't stop. That's the truth of everything. It just doesn't stop. You continually are asking the kids questions. You're playing audios in your car, so they're learning. Every place you go, you're asking them questions, so they're learning. And there's a lot of car schooling that takes place as well. You know, the overall title is homeschooling, but you're really doing car schooling because you're in the car so much, especially with little ones. You're in the car a lot, right? Doctor's appointments, places you have to be. If you're running a business while you're homeschooling, I know that one all too well. There's a lot going on, places you got to be, you just got to make it work. So in your planning, if you are in the car a lot, get some clipboards, get some lap pads, and do your work in the car, in the places you go, and just make it work. It's still all schooling, it's still learning, okay? Lots of freedoms there. All right, let's get back to our presentation. We don't have much more to go. We're almost done. Okay. That'll give you an idea about some scheduling. Now, let's go into our last bit. So I wanted to show you online some examples. So we'll go to it real quick. This is kind of fun, Let me move my picture out of the way. This here is from Cool Mom. Cool Mom is a blog. It's not one that I visit much, but I really wanted to find something I can show you online. And so that's why we're at hers. But she does give some good examples. So let's go down and look at them. Ads and everything. Okay, this is somebody's schedule that they wrote out. They chose to do it on a chalkboard. But look at this. Look, they had help with the children, it looks like, right? So here we go, 9 a.m. They wrote down what they're doing. Here they wrote 10 a.m., right? Start with homework. 11:30, they moved in. And then, no, well, that's not what we want to happen. Let me get you back on what we're supposed to be. I'm sorry about that. It's real life, people, real life. Okay. Let me jump back. Okay. 12:30 lunch, walk the dog. I always like including the animals into our day. That made a significant difference on them doing PE because they didn't want to be told that they had to go do exercise. But I was like, hey, spend some time with the animals, being outside and participating in that. So let's see, hold on a second. Let's see. No, that's not what I want to do. I am getting a child wanting my attention, so I'm going to take a minute break. Okay, all right, handled that. Back. All right, let's continue. Here is another one. Again, they went for the staycation. Blackboard. Oh man, no electronics till all work is complete, and then not until 6 p.m. It's like, just so you know, we're gonna make it all clear. Be patient, kind, and calm. So in their schedule, what they're doing is they're posting it for everybody to see. That's important, okay? You, as a parent or educator, have an idea in your mind what it's supposed to look like. And it's important that the students and the children know what it's supposed to look like. Okay, so that's very important. And here, what they did is they took anywhere from a half an hour, no, most of them are half an hour time increments to figure out what they're going to do. Okay, so there's another example. Check Schoology, almost said Schoolology, which means they're doing some distance learning. Eat, exercise. Now, you see how they changed it up? Like, that's not academics, but they wanted to put it in there so that they understand what they're supposed to do for the day. Okay, which means there's some normal family things in there, and that's okay. This one here, they chose to do on a whiteboard. And the first thing they wanted to make clear was, wake up, wake up, get up, right? And what do you do when you wake up? So, look at your hygiene first and then move on. Here they did hour increments. See that? Outdoor time. There was a time where I had to change my homeschooling schedule that they get out and play first. This came after a lot of struggle of trying to get them to, after they eat, let's start schooling. But what would happen is they would eat and then run outside and play in the backyard. And it was a constant me trying to pull them back in. So I finally just changed it. I was like, we'll see if this works. I don't know if it works. And it did. It totally worked. They got their outdoor time. After lunch, we did our schooling. Again, this is not mine here. This is just another parent found. This is why it works. Next one. I'm not sure if this is a whiteboard or a poster, but what I really like about this one is that they decided to write everything close, but they made it a point to change the coloring. This is so important for kids that have ADHD. All that wording would throw them off, or even dyslexia would throw them off. So you need to make sure that things are in different colors to be able to get their attention on what they're supposed to be looking at. Okay, this one, same thing as hour. They did it, the increments by hours. If you don't spend a whole hour on something, that's okay. That's okay. If something's going over an hour, that's okay too. Okay, this one here I feel like is for people who are very artsy or may have younger children. They made this a project for the kids. I've done this before. You really want to try to include them when you're making your schedule. It doesn't mean that they have to say what you're doing or not doing, but to participate and creating it is great. You can see the priority of this family is music and movement, right? That's a big priority for them because that's what's like number one on there. I love these daily somethings. Just as a reminder, I'll probably start posting these as well. Write something. Oh my goodness, especially if you have strong-willed children who don't want to do. No, I don't want to do that. Just write something. I don't care what you write. Write something. Read something. Pick a book. Read something, right? Count something. Create something. Nature something. That's so important to get out and be in nature. It really stabilizes and grounds the body. Move something, and then it continues on that way. Good morning. Okay, for those of you that are like, I don't want to have to do with lines and papers and deadlines and due dates and everything, I'm more creative. This is wonderful because they were able to take a poster board. You see that? A poster board, and just kind of put, look, these are the things you just need to, that needs to happen during the day. It doesn't need to be done by a certain time specifically, but it just needs to happen. So at the top is their hygiene and health, but at the bottom is all their academics, right? So every day, You need to do writing. You need to play an instrument. IXL is an online program. They want at least 20 minutes of it. And you see how much freedom there is here? They said, you choose 3. I want you to make these a habit to happen. You don't necessarily have to do all of them every day, but you need to do them. Okay. Khan Academy, outside for an hour, art activity, cookery, extra math is also online. These are free websites, by the way. Okay. Look at this one. This one's a COVID daily schedule. Here they did, it started off with a half an hour and then moved into bigger time increments. See right here, 9:30 to 11. So this is what we call block scheduling. Okay. And in everything, I like to have a little bit of humor. My real quarantine schedule, 9 a.m. stand on the front porch and sing. 9:30, eat a second breakfast. At 10, take your first nap. At 10:30, iPad time. 11, lunch. 11:30, take your second nap. At 12:30, watch videos of Olaf reading books. Right? Sometimes this is real. This is real, okay? This could happen on sick times. This could happen for times that you're just discouraged, you know, and it looks like this. And so give yourself a break if everything is not exactly the way you want to have it and it's not going the way you want it to be. Give yourself a break. Like we're all human and it doesn't look the way we planned originally. But I'm telling you, you will have a lot more control, confidence, clarity in what you're doing if you just take these steps. Okay, you take the step to figure out what's your simplified mission statement for your family. What are you going to do as far as scheduling and knowing that you don't have to have it all together all at once, but you'll have an idea of who you're going to work with at which time and what are some subjects you want to go over. Sometimes you're just going to the library and just like, hey, what are your interests? Let's just find where your interests are. And that turns into learning experiences. They find their interests and now you implement it into your schedule. And people say, hey, how do you do it? Or what do you have in your schedule? How do you put it together? And you could say, this is what it looks like for our family. Simplified as that, right? You need further help, reach out to me. If you need some advice on some things, or if you're just like, I have no idea what I'm doing, that's okay. Reach out to me, give me a call, find me online. My number is 415-997-9727. I'm located in California, so think about Pacific Standard Time. If I'm not available, I won't answer until I'm available. What does that mean? It means if you're gonna call at midnight on an emergency basis, you can leave a message. If I'm available, I'll answer, right? That's what that means, okay? The weekend, I'm available on weekends. Otherwise, contact me online. I am on Facebook and I do have some websites. All depends on how you found me. But I am available, okay? I'm tangible. You can reach me. Thank you so much for joining me. This should help get you started. Oh, before I forget, I wanted to show you the schedule. This is a fun schedule. A fun schedule, but I don't want to take too much more of your time. If you're creative and you just need to get down some lists without feeling like you're restrictive, this is a good one. It's a good one. Daily planner, put in what you want there. This is something I did not create. This is something that another mom provided, and it works for me when I'm just like, just need to get out of my head. Just need to get out of my head. You could do that with journals too. All right, finally closing up. I will see you for day 3. Thanks for joining again. Bye for now.